Well folks, it took us a while, but here we are. Mega Man X. A new generation of Mega Man introduced to the masses in 1994 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, where the cutesy, hokey nature of the original series was made less so, the stakes raised much higher, and the action made more intense. No longer were you a former housekeeping robot turned super fighting machine fending off against reprogrammed robots with funny names. Now you're a war machine through and through fighting off other war machines with equally funny names, with the future of anything worth a damn being on the line. And then a year or so later we got Mega Man 7, because of course we did. But regardless, Mega Man X was the next step forward in Mega Action. Going from the aging 8-bit NES hardware to playing with 16-bit superpower, the end result was a game that maintained the core aspects of its predecessors and then overhauled the formula with a bunch of other stuff. In essence, something new while still being familiar. Perhaps the closest thing to an evolution of the formula before the franchise as a whole went off the rails, but that's neither here nor there. You start the game and you play an intro level, acclimating yourself to the game controls and staring at the paltry life meter on the left side of the screen. Barring the woeful MS-DOS edition of Mega Man, when a new entry in a series that usually gives you the ability to choose your starting stage hands you an introductory level that you have to play through, you're in for some serious business, son. And then after getting your ass handed to you by Vile and your first numerical password, the usual stage select thing appears with 8 Maverick bosses modeled after various animal things, and from here we progress as usual. Pick a stage, play through it until you reach the boss, beat the boss, get its weapon, and then repeat the process 7 more times until all 8 Mavericks are gone and only Sigma remains in your sights. Mega Man X starts with the absolute bare minimum of abilities to complement the minimal health meter. You can run, you could jump, you could shoot, you can wall jump, and you could even charge up your X-Buster to fire more powerful shots. And the X-Buster is a considerable improvement over the old Mega Buster to the degree that even the mid-charge shot will do moderately more damage than the basic Lemon shot. Eventually, you'll come across items that will enhance your abilities, whether it be life-extending heart containers, sub-tanks that could be filled with energy to be used at a later time, or armor upgrades. Said upgrades include increased firepower that will allow you to charge all your acquired weapons, a dash ability that is useful for speedy travel as well as extending your leaps for those hard to reach places, a headbutt to break bricks, and of course, increased resistance to damage. Now while the game doesn't require you to attain these upgrades, well okay, the dash boots are the only mandatory upgrade, and the Buster upgrade will eventually happen in one form or another. That's as far as I'll go if you haven't played the game. But it is entirely possible to beat the game with just the bare minimum of assets. And for those who dare such a task, and for those who have done such a task, I salute you, but I prefer my X to be buffed with stuff, and I go for these upgrades because Mega Man X tends to be pretty rough at times. I mean, compared to the rest of the series, where the difficulty falls off a cliff eventually, it's fairly tame. But baby's first Mega Man, this is not. When I say the action is more intense, everything moves faster, hits harder, boss fights are more aggressive compared to what came before. Even with your newly gained dash ability that increases your mobility somewhat, your platforming skills and trigger fingers are put to the test with some of the set pieces designed to show off more than challenge. And while X maintains the rock, paper, scissors element when it comes to Mavericks and their weakness weapons, it only serves to stun them or throw them off their game rather than bring an early end to a fight, which is why you'd want to use weakness weapons on bosses in the first place, but whatever. For the novice player, Mega Man X can be a bit intimidating, perhaps a bit discouraging, much like the first game of the previous Mega Man. The difference is that you have tools to ease you into things if you're willing to find them. Sometimes it's that simple as reaching a high platform, or maybe you need something extra to clear an obstacle blocking the way. Also, Mega Man X is more tightly designed and isn't prone to slippery controls. If nothing else, control is top-notch, responsive, the L and R triggers used to quickly swap between weapons to save time. And speaking of the weapons, a fairly basic array of weapons you acquire in this game. Some ice balls here, a flamethrower there, a rolling cutter thing that grabs stuff over here. But with the Buster upgrade, you could charge these weapons to something fierce. Instead of a puny flamethrower, how about pillar flames? Instead of a 3-way laser, how about some temporary invulnerability? Most of these weapons are pretty useful beyond rock, paper, scissors, and some are even fun to use, especially the flamethrower. So we need to talk about the graphics of Mega Man X because this is the style that will dominate the 16-bit era of the series. For the most part, it's an evolution of what you got on the NES. More colorful and vibrant environments with lots of detail and liveliness in some respects, bigger and badder robots that come off as both menacing and cute, some great action set pieces like the crumbling bridges or shattering windows, and then there's the little things. The way a foe will gloat after landing a hit on X, the way X starts to breathe heavily when he's low on health, which... okay, whatever. The way dynamics of a level will change as a result of you clearing another level, whether it be defeating Storm Eagle and causing his battleship to crash into the power plant and causing more blackouts in that level, or defeating Chill Penguin to freeze lava so you could now claim that heart container. Those are some nice little touches that I can appreciate, and I wish they had done more often in the later games. And as much as the visual component sees a bit of an upgrade, the sound gets a huge boost that you immediately notice the second that title appears on screen. And Mega Man X has some fantastic musical bits. The opening stage music sets the tone for the rest of the game and is still one of the best intro themes in any Mega Man game with an intro level. Storm Eagle, Spark Mandrill has some great rockin' tunes. Armored Armadillo's theme complements the fast minecart rides you take. Chill Penguin has a nice, calm theme to it that feels out of place in a game like this, quite honestly. And honestly, some of the Maverick themes are better than the Sigma level songs, which aren't too bad either. But that's another story. The sound effects have more punch. Your lemons sound a bit weak and lame, but your winding charge shot, your explosions and stuff, much meatier and more impactful than before. Very nice. Mega Man X is one of the finer examples of taking a game from a previous generation and bringing it to the next without fundamentally changing the core elements of its predecessor, something I felt happened with later Mega incarnations. After 6 games on the NES, the formula needed to evolve, and Mega Man X evolved the formula to a level that took advantage of the newer, more powerful hardware. Bigger set pieces, harder hitting intensity, faster pacing, but retained enough of what came before that makes it fundamentally Mega Man. It took what worked before and made it better, and that's what you're supposed to do with a franchise that needs freshening up on a new generation of hardware. Of the 8 games in the series, not counting the portables or the side games, Mega Man X sees the most replay with me. Later games would have more interesting stuff here and there, but X1 was more straightforward, more streamlined, isn't bogged down with needless bullshit, and is still a top-notch video game that's fun to play. Whether it be the original cartridge, the Legacy Collection that's available right now, or maybe you're one of the lucky few that has that Super Nintendo Classic Edition thing, Mega Man X is top-notch, quality, video gaming, mega-busting entertainment. And you should probably play it. If you gotta play one Mega Man X game, just make it that one. It's widely available, it's fun, it's stuff. And got 7 more to go, I guess. Maybe a couple others, maybe not.